guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be taking a look at the FEIYUTECH Mini 3D Pro Gimbal. Now this is a 3-axis gimbal. It's got our yaw, pitch, and roll here on the gimbal to stabilize it in 3 different axes. And this is an improvement over the original FEIYUTECH's original Mini 3D gimbal. The Mini 3D was a nice and light mini gimbal for GoPro style cameras, and it did a really good job. It did have some slight issues with some slight momentary vibrations once in a while, and I think this one is supposed to mitigate all of that while keeping it small and light. Even better dampening and smooth video for your quadcopter or any kind of craft you have. You can even mount this thing in a vertical or horizontal position as well. So let's go ahead and take this thing out of the box and see what it's all about. I will have the links down in the description for this. If you are interested, go ahead and check the link down there in the description of the video, and you can check this out yourself on the website. So anyway, let's go ahead and take this out of the box real quick and see everything that comes in it. Hook it up to like a battery and just see out of the box if it can level itself and how it looks. So first thing on the top, we're getting an instruction manual, 3D Pro instruction manual. It's just basically going through all of the information, everything it comes with, how to set everything up, what all the plugs do, what all the channels do, and where to plug everything in. And then also how to mount it in an upright position or forward-facing position. A lot of people like to mount them on the front of their quadcopters. Some quadcopters, they like to mount them on the front, and this one has that capability to do a front mount, mounting forward. So anyway, that's the instruction manual. We got a little warranty card on the top of the box here, and we have a box here that's labeled A on the top. Let's go ahead and open this thing up really quick, see what's inside. Okay, cool. So here's our ball dampers. So this one is a 6 ball damper gimbal, and it looks like they give you 2 extra ones. So I've got 8 ball dampers there. And here's all our cabling that we're going to be plugging in to the connection port of the gimbal for all of our channels and our power up for the gimbal. And the last 2 things in the box are basically some gimbal hangers. If you have a system where you can clamp it and hang it from some gimbal tubes, you can use this, as well as the top plate that's going to connect the ball dampers, and then this would be the front plate to hold in your GoPro style camera. Here's the gimbal itself. Nice quality looking gimbal here. So it's basically going to be mounting up like so. And these are your 3 axes. So you've got your yaw axis, your pitch axis, and your roll axis of dampening for your video. And on the bottom here we have another box, and it's just labeled B. And let's see what's in this one. So it looks like these are some more connectivity cables. We basically just got our cable that's going to plug into our camera. And this is a mini USB cable, so like GoPros and some other GoPro copy type cameras, like the Get Up Get To camera, they use this connection for your video output to do FPV and stuff. So this is a great cable to include with it. And it looks like you have your computer connection cables. So this is just a micro USB, which is going to be plugging in to the gimbal for configuration on your computer. There is a micro USB connection here in the back of the gimbal, you can see here. And so you'll plug this end, micro USB end, into the gimbal, and then this end needs to plug into this little adapter before you put this into your computer. Well, I know on the first Mini 3D FEIYUTECH they do mention you absolutely need to plug this in. Make sure you plug this in before you plug this into your computer for gimbal configuration. It is supposed to work right out of the box. It's supposed to self-level itself and have no problem working right out of the box. That configuration you would do with these items here, hooking it up to your computer. You can download some software from the FEIYUTECH website. If you do want to go ahead and mount it like in this position, where you would have your camera up here and it would be mounting on this axis, like facing forward, or you could also mount it like this, where you're mounting it upside down or right side up, whatever you want to call it, and it's stabilizing in this direction instead of hanging from the bottom of a quad like this. So you have those three different mounting capabilities, and those are all adjusted by the software. Let's go ahead and put a camera in it and power it up and just see how it stabilizes right out of the box. Okay, so as far as setup goes, putting the camera on and stuff, if you were going to use like the FPV connection here, like its previous predecessor, the regular Mini 3D, it's got this little piece of tape here that covers up this port. And all you do is you take this cable and you plug it in to the coinciding plug. There's only one way you can plug it in. So you just kind of plug that in nice and tight. And then you can flip that piece of tape back down and cover up that connection. And then this cable's ready to go, plugging into your camera for your FPV and stuff. And it's kind of neat. Basically all the cabling is run through all the arms, tucked away, integrated inside. And so all you've got to do is plug this cable that comes with it into the corresponding connector slot on top. Really easy, really self-explanatory. You can't really mess this up. You just want to plug it in so it seats in there nicely. And you're not going to be needing all of these plugs if you're not going to be controlling manually anything besides the pitch. Okay, and so in the manual it's telling us that the blue cable, blue and white, which would be this one here, is the tilt. So that's going to allow you to, what most quadcopters allow you to do manually is tilt or pitch the camera up and down. And you'd be using that on your control, on your the channel on whatever quadcopter you have that's connected to your remote controller. It's usually a knob, and you can pitch that up or down. And so it's saying that on this one, this blue cable is for the tilt or pitch control. And you can see there is a blue and a white together. This is also the panning. The white is the panning. So if you also had a channel on your controller or your craft where you wanted to manually control the panning here, you would hook up that white cable. What I'm going to be doing for most of my quads is I only use the pitch control for the camera to go up and down with the camera. Everything else is just automatically stabilized, the roll and the panning here. It'll just do it on its own. So I don't really need to control that. So what I'm going to be doing is just to save weight and some clutter. So I'm going to be untwisting these two here and just using the blue cable. Real simple, just untwist it if you want. And you know, everybody's going to be different. They're going to want to have different controls, so you can leave on whichever ones you want, take off whichever ones you want. I just like removing the unnecessary things I don't normally use just to save some clutter. So you're going to want to keep this one on. This is going to be your power for your gimbal. And as far as the power that you can give this thing, the instruction manual is saying that it can operate minimum of 7 volts and a maximum of 17 volts. So anyway, for my use here, since I'm only going to be using, out of all these channels, the blue cable, I'm going to unplug this again. And this is pretty simple. The way you pull these cables out, the unused cables, is you just take like an X-Acto knife, and all of the ones you're not going to be using, you just bend these tabs up a little bit. You just stick the X-Acto knife underneath, bend the tab up, not too much, just a little, so that the whole wire in the connector can slip out like that. And as far as this top plate goes on, I'm actually not going to put it on right now because the way you do this is you've got to mount it to the bottom of your craft. You can see how you have these screw hole configurations to accommodate many different crafts, but you just want to basically make sure it doesn't matter which way as far as top or bottom you go, as long as this arrow is supposed to be pointing in the front of the craft. So you'd basically just screw this on to the bottom first, and then you've got to take this and go ahead and put in your damper balls. This can be a little tough sometimes. You usually need like a little pen or a screwdriver to like push these in on both sides, and it's a little bit of a process, but it takes a few minutes to get those in. And then once that's all up, it'll be hanging off your craft like this, off of the ball dampers. And then if you wanted to, some people put those little safety hangers inside of the ball dampers, those little plastic safety hangers, just in case you get a hard hit or something and the gimbal won't just pull off in a really hard hit. Alright, so now we want to hook up the camera here, and the way we do that is we make sure we have it oriented correctly, where the cabling is going to be on the back side and the wording is going to be upright and level, and the camera is going to be over here sticking out the right side. So I'm going to be using the Get Up Get To camera with this. This is probably, I don't have a GoPro, but this is like a GoPro equivalent, and it's probably one of the best cheap cameras you can buy. I really like it. I will also have the links for this guy down in the description if you're interested in checking that out. So anyway, you just slide the camera in here. This one fits up perfect. It's the same exact form factor as a GoPro, so no problems fitting it into anything the GoPro can fit in. And you just slide this top plate right over, and this one has these cool little thumb screws that all you're doing is you're screwing it in until the threads surpass this top portion, and then it can kind of slide a little bit. Then you're just screwing it into that back portion to receive the threads. I really like gimbals that have little thumb screws like this. A lot of gimbals have screws where you have to use a wrench or a tool, and it's really cumbersome. So I really like how FEIYUTECH uses these little thumb screws. Pretty quick and easy, you don't have to have any extra tools. And it's held in really solid too. That thing's not going anywhere just by a slight tightening of these screws. Let's go ahead and power this thing up and see just how it does out of the box. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to connect this. So if you are going to be using like an FPV, you would just go right into the mini USB slot, push that in, and there you go. Okay, so I forgot that the yellow and black was actually the FPV out coming out here. So it's going from the camera, it's going through this cable, it's going up, all integrated in here, and then the FPV video and ground were actually that black and yellow cable. So my bad, I shouldn't have disconnected those. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to put, this will be a good chance to show you how to put those connectors back in after you remove them. So just remember, never throw away your directions, because it has the pinouts on which connectors are which for all of your channels and your video. And all you're doing is basically pushing it in until it kind of snaps and you can't pull it out anymore, until that little thing grabs the tab and it will not pull out. Alright, cool. So that's it. Those two are back in there, nice and tight. Okay, so now we can re-plug in and then go ahead and connect everything else up. So if you have a video transmitter for FPV on your craft, this is where you'd hook in your video and your ground to there, and then this is going to go into the pitch channel on your craft, and then this is just going to be your power, 7 to 17 volts of power. And so before we do power up, optimally you want to have your gimbal kind of balanced before you even plug in. So you can see how the camera is tilting to the left there. So that's not ideal. The pitch here looks like it's pretty good. It's basically, you want it to stick in whatever position you put it in. So you can see how the pitch is staying wherever I kind of move it. The only thing here is the roll here. So what I'd want to do in this situation is actually back off on these thumb screws just a little bit, and then pull the camera, slide the camera to the right just a tad, and so that see how it's balancing itself now. So no matter where I put it, you see how it's staying there. And optimally, that's what you want when you're trying to set up a gimbal for the first time, or whenever you have a camera in your gimbal. So you want it to be able to just stay in whatever position you put it, and that means it's really well balanced. So once it's there, just going to crank down these screws again. So now let's go ahead and power it up. So I'm just going to kind of be lifting it and holding it. This is a 7.4 volt battery. So I'm just plugging it in. We can hear a couple of beeps, and the gimbal automatically levels. The camera is actually feeding off of the power going through the gimbal because we have this little plug-in here. So looks like this gimbal will actually charge your camera as well, so that's good to know. But anyway, there we go. So we're all set up. So we can see that it's stabilizing the yaw here. So you could do little movements and it won't even really move. But then when you go a little further, it's forced to move. So it'll take out a lot of dampening in your yaw of your craft. And then we have, of course, the you can see the pitch stabilization, where it's going to stabilize that. It's nice and sturdy, as you can see. And then let's check out the roll. So you can see how well it's stabilizing that roll as well too. So that's the 3-axis. We got our pitch, our roll, and our yaw, and it's stabilizing. So you guys, don't forget to subscribe and see how this thing performs on a bunch of the reviews I do, a bunch of crafts. I also do a bunch of like just flight videos, and I'll be definitely using this thing in those flight videos. And in those flight videos, I'll be mentioning that I am using this thing, and you guys can make sure you check this out. And don't forget, this camera and this gimbal are down in the description, so you can click on them, go to the website, and see all the specs and you know, how much they cost and just what they're all about. But anyway, I hope you like the review, the initial unbox, setup, and inspection for the Mini 3D FEIYUTECH Mini 3D Pro gimbal, the next generation of their 3-axis gimbal here. All right, cool. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.